Be comfortable.
Did anybody try your C4, Tim?
I don't think so.
Oh, I've had that before. I like it. Tastes like Starburst.
You are truly tasting.
Well, it was interesting to me that that one is.
Yeah, I tried that.
Starburst, like it's aimed at kids.
Oh, yeah. I had an energy drink in my cup when I came in, so I'm like, I don't know. I don't know, wanting to.
Are we going again or?
Why don't you do it, yeah.
Thank you, so, but I can do my notes over your cancer, or do I have to be over there? Thank you.
Now, it doesn't have.
Yeah, it looks nice. Hey, we're not, like, you're dealing with afterwards.
Okay, Colleen. Williver,
How?
Yes, sir. Thank you for service.
starting recording. Afternoon, call the Fair Board meeting to order at 4:02. Roll call, Colleen Roberts, Todd Williver,
Here.
Todd Butterfield,
Here.
and myself. Of course, we have Heather Tower and Kathleen and county administrators around here as well. Quorum's been established. Has everybody had a chance to read last month's minutes?
Yep. Make a motion, we approve the minutes as typed.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed, abstain? Ayes carried. Old business. Colleen, can you mute your computer?
I'm already muted.
There, I'll mute that part. We were to look at the bylaws. Did anybody not get the bylaws?
I got them and I had a question about a quorum. What happens when we're at the fairgrounds?
So my understanding with, like, when we're working at the fairgrounds, we just have to be extremely careful not to make any decisions. The nice thing about the fairgrounds is if we're not in a meeting, all decisions have to go through Heather.
Okay,
So as long, if we come up with an idea, kind of like we did last year, come up with an idea, then somebody takes it to Heather and Heather slaps the table and makes the decision. Now, if some emergency happens where we have to do an emergency board meeting, then we can do that and then we make the decision. So like if, God forbid, there's a wildfire that breaks out and we need to shut the fair down, that would become a special board meeting, emergency board meeting, that we make that decision.
okay.
Am I far off on that, Tim?
I think you're absolutely spot on. Yeah.
Cause I know that, that was one of the things that was brought up early on with us being a working fair board was if you and I have a conversation, we're a quorum.
Yeah.
If Colleen and I have a conversation, we're a quorum. So we just can't make decisions. And hopefully, although the county administrator hasn't yelled at me lately,
Two more people on you, then you're in probably better shape.
it's exactly what I was gonna say, is that if we can bump our fair board up 2 to 3 people, then 2 of us having a conversation, there's never gonna be a quorum. Couple things that,
On that note, really quick, I know this is slightly off topic. Are we gonna do some kind of push to open that application process back up and do some marketing to get some fair board members before fair?
Kim and I have not had a chance to
Okay,
actually sit down and have a meeting, but yes,
okay.
that's,
I'll let you go back to your bylaw conversation, but I just want.
and you will be involved in that conversation, I promise.
No, that's fine. I just was curious of the timeline that. you-
A couple things that were on this was. Kristen had made her comments. The purpose of the Fair Board to provide input to the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners and the Fairgrounds Advisory Committee. She asked if that should be changed to Master Plan Visioning Committee by Fairgrounds, because it's not gonna be the Fairgrounds, it's gonna be the Lincoln County Commons.
I don't think that the vision committee is a committee anymore. I think once they passed the redevelopment, that committee essentially dissolved. Todd, is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, I don't, yeah, I think that committee is done with its work, I think, and could just go away.
Yeah, I think you can just have her to the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners and just take out that Fairgrounds Advisory, or
Is that the blue ribbon?
change it to Fairgrounds Management, maybe? What does it say? To provide,
Input to the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners and the Fairground Advisory Committee, but
yeah,
it's not a fairgrounds.
yeah, I would just maybe ask Kristen if that just needs to be removed and just say Board of Commissioners.
Okay,
Time out, yes, ma'am.
Is that Kristen's note or is that my note?
it says KK1.
That's you.
Oh, that's you.
Well, Kathleen, I think, and Todd again, agrees, is the committee was dissolved once the Board of Commissioners passed the redevelopment in 2019, because essentially at that point their work was completed. So I don't know how that wording needs to look. I don't know if it needs to go to Fairgrounds Management or Commons Management.
And that's what I'm asking, so what I did was take, whichever county it was that
I think you said Washington County.
Wayne Belmont said, I think it was Washington County. I went and grabbed theirs, I pulled it up, I went through, I changed everything that as it pertained to us, but then when I got to places where I'm like, I don't know what to do with this, those are the spots I marked. So if
Right.
you guys have input, we'll take it, yay. If we're going, wait, we don't know either, I'll take it to Kristen or Jim or.
I would at least ask Tim if there's a group or committee that there's not.
Not to my knowledge.
No,
Dealing specifically with the fairgrounds, you guys are the only
Right.
committee outside of the Board of Commission.
Another comment or one that I had was Fair Board officers, the named president, vice president, chair, vice chair.
Your call.
Doesn't matter to me either way. So I always look
What's
at
it
like
listed in, is it listed,
in the old
differently?
bylaws, it is chair and vice chair. In this one, it's president, vice president. I'm used to like I sit on the United Way Board of Commissioner or Board of Directors. The head of the board is the chair. The CEO is the president.
no,
So
we need to
I
go
don't think
back
it
to-
matters, but it was a question I had.
Jim,
Um,
are you marking that one up?
I am,
Can I have it when you're done or?
Yes.
Your copy or something?
yep. Another thing that we need to just, I think. If we approve these, is just generally put on the agenda for January every year is the election of officers.
Do
Cause
we wanna do it in January or do we wanna do it fiscal? How does,
we started in,
right, but in my vision, because our fair is in July. Wouldn't it be smarter to reelect following the fair event, so you have that whole year?
Yeah, so let's talk about this for a minute. Mr. Chairman, if I may.
absolutely,
Thank you, sir. So to this point, it probably is good to do it in January because you have concluded with a reconciliation of the fair. So you've had, if you do it right after the fiscal year, and remember, you kind of split your budgets over 2 fiscal years. You've got to remember that because you're prepping and paying for money up front for your fair. Then, June 30th is over, but you're still in the midst of proceeding with your fair. So now you're in a different fiscal year, in a different budget. So that's a little tenuous to say the least, but we've worked with it, so be it. What I'm suggesting at is that, as you know, we worked September and parts of October to get reconciliation done. I think it's important that there is consistency with your chair, whoever it may be, to get through that point. And a new year is a good year to kick it off, because then they get basically 6 months to work up into it.
Realistically, the president, the chair, the head of the board, the vice, you know, in here, it says that they can be reelected into their same spot.
Correct.
So you might have,
Correct,
you know, the same
person.
person for consecutive years, because if it's running well, why change it?
Okay, thank you.
Another question that was brought up by Kathleen was regular business meetings. The fair board shall meet as needed, but will generally meet X number of times a year. In here, it says 6. The last one said 12. We already know we take 2 months off. I wrote 10 as a question mark. I mean, we're gonna meet 10 times a year.
Well,
Should
I have
have it.
I have a question for all of you, Mr. Chair, if I may. You know, we've tried to meet on a consistent date and time. I know that sometimes we got shifted around here, but trying to maintain a consistent date and time every month, I think is a good thing. So while you're looking at that, you might want to also say, we'll meet 10 months out of the year. You might actually want to meet 11 months, simply because of the fact that when did you take time off?
We took
Take time off
August.
in June.
August and December.
And December.
And the reason for that was December, Christmas, icy roads, dangerous. August that's right in the heat of all the fairs. So, but
Does it need to just say at least a certain amount of time a year?
I mean, you only,
this one does generally meet 6 times a year.
I think if you just say generally meets monthly,
I think you should say,
generally meets monthly, I mean, make it,
Well, the 10 sounds better, because if you're taking 2 off.
well, but that's where the generally comes in, right?
Right.
good, but you, to Todd's point, you could say that, that's all right.
Generally meets 10 times a year on what are we normally meeting? Third?
I don't know if you,
Thursday.
I don't know if you wanna be that specific, cause that's gonna change.
What?
I mean, it could, just if, what if we get new board members on?
That's part of the interview though.
That's right.
Okay. If you,
I mean, I've moved, when I got appointed, I had meetings on the 3rd Thursday, and I purposely moved them around to.
Look, you guys can't amend the bylaws just to change your dates.
no.
Well,
Why would we do that?
we have Kathleen check everybody else's schedule
Yeah.
countywide.
Let's see, what else was there?
Good questions.
Oh, I had a question on. At the start of the executive session, the chair shall inform members of the press in attendance. This is specifically for an executive session, not that we'd ever have to go there. Of their rights and responsibilities in attending. Can we get a copy of those? Like,
Yeah.
So. I mean, that would be, I have no idea if we had to go to an executive session and the press showed up.
So there's only a couple things in where you would go. One of them is under personnel. And the other one is related to real estate. In neither case, I don't think you need to be involved as a non-organization. This would be then subsequently brought to the attention of county council and BOC. So
Right.
you'd be a part of that larger discussion decision.
I think for what I reviewed. Right, there it is. A county staff person shall act as secretary to the fair board. This version makes it clear that secretary is the person in my position and not an officer. Is this the way we want to do this?
Let me give you the background, Tim, because you were stepped out. So this is the Washington County bylaws for their fair board. I pulled it out, I plugged in our words, but where we had discrepancies, I made notes, and this is one of those spots.
Yeah, so you should probably have one of the board members be secretary. Kathleen would be,
The recorder.
yeah, of your minutes and so on and so forth.
Okay,
But
so
your
I'm gonna
secretary,
tweak
your
that one.
secretary, as you would identify in the order of officers.
Okay. And then we just change that to a county staff person shall act as the recorder.
Yes.
Of the minutes or something.
And did we put Colleen in office as secretary?
I think we did.
No,
Oh, Butterfield.
it's Butterfield,
I'm the secretary.
but because we had to have one under the old bylaws. And
What
the
happens when you miss a
bylaws and the
meeting?
MOA and all that was confusing on who the secretary
So-
was and all that. So we did it, but really she's doing all the work for us.
Thank you.
Well, but
Christmas is
so
coming, Todd.
you. We'll re-elect officers in January.
Right. That was the only things that I had when I read through it, and then Kathleen read. Anybody else have questions, comments, concerns, moans, groans, gripes?
I mean, generally, it's pretty nice document
You did have fabulous.
of stealing it.
The best way
You
to
need a motion? Change it?
I don't know about procedure, but I could incorporate and present a final
That's what I
draft
was gonna say is
in
that,
January.
we can either do a motion as with the recommended amendments or,
We just do it next time after it's done?
right.
Okay.
And this is something that we can, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is something like if she kicks it out next week,
you can do an email.
we can do an email vote and lock the bylaws in.
Why not?
So,
As long as it's noticed.
right.
It would then, let's see,
I think it would become an amendment to the November minutes.
or. Yeah, I guess it could be recorded under that.
I don't know why, I mean,
Or we wait until January.
I don't know, Kristen will help me with the
procedure.
procedural pieces.
Yeah, she,
That's for me.
can I get a copy of that, please?
Just scan it in.
Of course.
Just a digital copy, right?
Yeah, the digital copy's fine.
And I'll send it to you.
Yeah, that's.
Whoops, I better not write.
I know on the MOA was on here. Do we really have, as a fair board, anything to do with the MOA?
That's MOU or is it MO?
It's an MOA.
That is a,
I know it shows up and we should have knowledge of the MOA. Only because it does, if I remember right, define financial obligations from the fair board to OSU. But outside of that, that's more of a county to OSU, Heather.
No, I think it's imperative that you have input and direction on it. Let me give you an example. The Homeless Advisory Board, which is a countywide effort with the 7 cities. On the negotiation of an MOA, That goes through, the Housing Advisory Board. And they direct me to provide the, MOA, change to the MOA or amendment to the MOA, negotiated, price.
Anybody else read the,
The
Well-
MOA?
well, there's a couple different. I have like 4 different copies, so.
I think only one is signed.
Well, that's the one I have. I've just got like 4 different versions of it.
This is a different one. right? Well, I have a separate. It's just- This is the one.
Yeah, the IGA. Or IAG, IGA. That's why it's in the IGA. I was thinking that was the one there. So we'll have to review the MOA.
And this one that is signed, I think is from 2019.
Something like that.
I thought we had a newer one than that, Heather.
2022.
There you
Okay.
go. And I thought it was I thought the most recent one we did was a 2-year, so did it cover 22, 23 or 21, 22?
No, I think the MOU, so the MOA is the one between the county fair board and the commission.
Right,
And then mine is the IGA, which is
Right.
through OSU and the commission.
correct.
So the MOA, that one was 2022, and I don't think it has. I think just the IGA has a year, like it has to be renewed every 3, it's at 3 years. Cause I think it's through 2026.
Sounds right.
Through,
This is an old one. So it's 3 fiscal years, so this was renewed 2022 to 23, 23 to 24, 24 to 25, so it'll have to be renewed in 2025.
gotcha.
I don't think this one is dated, I think this is just the newest iteration.
Right. And that was where, like, my original email back in March came from the MOA and the bylaws, how they worded differently. So I think my idea is that we get the bylaws signed off and approved and get those in place, because we don't have any. We have an MOA, we just don't have any bylaws that have been ratified. And then in January, between now and January, we dive into the MOA. And that way the MOA can jive with the bylaws verbiage wise, and but if we try and eat 2 pieces at the same time, that's a lot to digest.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Sure, as I recall, that old version of the bylaws that we were looking at originally conflicted a lot with the MOA, and this new version
It's much clearer,
does not.
okay.
So I think we're gonna find that this seems like a big task. I think we're gonna find that it's taken care of.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, that's a lot of Kathleen work.
Yes.
Christmas.
Any
Kathleen.
thoughts on that idea?
That's good.
Okay. We don't have any other discussion and action items. We don't have any other public comment that I know of.
I did have Heather down for review of vendor handbook. Do we want to do that today?
I pulled it up, maybe, I think what I'll do is I'll email everybody what I have. Send you the prices. of the vendor spaces, give you my thoughts. If everybody would review that from now until our next board meeting. And then bring me your changes, and so then I can get that stuff published on the website. It's typically I don't start getting requests until February, March, so we have a little bit of time. But I really want to look at this pricing structure. And specifically looking at nonprofits and the amount of space that we're currently giving them. And just change some of the language. Some of the language in the rules are just outdated. Like one of them that comes to mind is that since Bigfoot is a sponsor, the vendors need to have Pepsi products, and I don't know how much they're like complying with that. And so I just need to like kind of look at some of that. There's some noise compliance things in there. Just things like that that just need to be reviewed. I think one of the things is there's no tents allowed in the main hall. I've been allowing tents in the main hall, so just things like that. I just think that we looked at.
And I think the tents fall under the fire marshal side of the house.
There was tents in there?
The
Like
10 by 10
pop-up, like
pop-ups.
people use them for advertising,
Okay.
and I've allowed them because they haven't like interfered with any of the lights, or I place them strategically. But there is a like blatant rule in there, but it's not allowed.
That is sprinkled, if I remember right.
Yeah, so I just, some of the things are just outdated, I just need to be looked at. To make sure that we're
They
compliant.
put the frame up if they wanted to hang stuff, but to cover
Inside the sprinkler.
a sprinkler head.
I don't cover.
They
No,
don't,
but it
they don't
covers-
cover them, but it
it
covers
covers the
that area,
area.
Yeah.
prevents that area.
Yeah, so
And
anyways,
it's this year. Last year it was the Navy put one up, the Air Force put one up, and Northwest Insurance.
so I
That's
just
one.
wanna look at, that was my concern, is just to look at those and make sure we're in compliance with everything and clean it up a little bit. And look specifically at the fees. I don't know if it's imperative that we raise them this year, or maybe that's something we look at for 2026. But the nonprofit thing's been weighing on me, and I just don't know how to reconcile that. And so I just wanna look at that as a fair point.
Well, obviously, in future years, you're gonna have a bigger facility to.
Yeah.
accommodate folks, so you have some flexibility there.
Right. And then, I don't think it's on here, but I can give a quick update about what's going on with the Christmas trees and the wreaths and all of that. 4-H opened up on Friday, Black Friday, they were open 9 to 7, through the weekend, and then they are open from 4 to 7, Tuesday through Friday. They got extra trees this year because we are the only tree lot in Newport besides Fred Meyer and or if Walmart has trees. So they got about 100 additional trees than they normally get. So the space is full. It looks really cool in there. They have it set up really nice. We have 2 clubs, one's doing the trees and then one's doing the wreaths and Seas Candy. And they had a really successful opening weekend. So far so good with traffic flow. They've been kind of coning the entrance off so people don't park there. The one challenge is people just are going to the wrong gate, so we're just really working on marketing that a little bit better because people are so used to going in that main gate over by the high school. So they have signs up and things like that to kind of redirect traffic, but so far it's working out really, really well.
Are they eating that space?
She has a propane heater in there.
Painting Christmas trees.
But they're not like, it's not constantly on. The kids are all, I mean, they're used to it. They have coveralls on and hats and gloves and
Just seems to me it would drive out their product also, but
yeah, they don't, I was in there Friday and then again no, just Friday, and then I was in there on Monday for something else, but it seems to be doing well.
Put the trees outside over the weekend while it's raining. Water them.
They have the greens outside, so for the wreaths. But yeah, they, so far so
A lot
good.
more space than what they've done the several.
Yes, yeah, they've been able to spread out quite a bit, and they keep the trees that aren't like displayed wrapped, so that helps them keep them fresh and, things like that. So. And then we will be doing a pretty big community service event in tandem with them on the 9th. It's called Youth in Action. The 4-H kids come in and we make centerpieces for every recipient that gets Meals on Wheels in our county. We have to make about 300 of those annually, so that'll be super fun.
Well, thank you, Heather. Anybody else have anything?
Oh, and on that note, the bleachers are all back. Sorry, just remember that all 4 sets are back on grounds. And I know Tim's gonna work with,
We are working on it. We can't get those out. We can't lease those out again for a while. We need to do tire repair. We need to get the batteries changed out on those things. And we need to find titles for 2 of them. And then we need to get them licensed.
but they are all back on grounds, so.
So let's keep them there for a while until we can get our work done. Otherwise, we could be in real trouble.
I don't feel like going to jail today, so
You wouldn't, I would.
I'm sure you'd drag me along with you. That's how it works usually. Mr. Williver, do you have any comments?
I do not.
Dang.
Did you hear that?
Is Holly still around? Okay. Well, I would, you don't have anything? I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Our next meeting scheduled right now is January 18th at 3:30.
30.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed, abstain? Ayes, carry it. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you next year. Thanks, Todd.
You're welcome, guys. Thank you.
Hope you feel a bit better.
Doing good. Thanks, Todd. Appreciate it. It's, feel like somebody beat me up with a baseball bat, but I'm surviving.
Well, when's your next medication?
Every 4 hours.
Hey, what hurts more, a Black Angus cow climbing in your patrol car or back surgery?
It's probably a toss up at this point. Give me another week with this back and I'll let you know.
Todd, feel better soon.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'm doing okay. Adios. Yeah. Good work, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.